Hello and welcome to another What the Farq Presents with me, Lord Farquaad. It's great to have you back. So we've got a couple of milestones that have happened recently. Our first video hit over 1,000 views, so thank you very much. And we've finally got over the first hurdle of 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I'm not earning no money, but thank you very much for a guy who just cobbles it together, who is underpowered and just makes it up as he's going along. Thank you very much. So most recently with our server merge, we brought two servers together, which a lot of egos, a lot of different alliances, a lot of change. And what that brings is potential of war. Many servers I know have constant wars, or there are short wars and there's long wars. And what I wanted to do is kind of just put a little bit of a guide together for those that maybe are not experiencing it, and it may come up, especially when you've got mergers. I know recently some US mergers happened, and what this video to do is to give you some ideas, to have a think, to start planning a little bit, and hopefully it will just save a couple of ships, will allow you to do a few more Armadas, will allow you to pick off a few more players as we is. So my tip number one is prepare for war. There's two types of wars really. You've got your silent war, or you've got your loud war. Your silent war, your cold war, everything's behind the scenes. There's nothing going on. With regards to galaxy chat, nobody talks to each other. It's just two alliances smashing each other, and there may be no winner. The other type of war is the war of words. That is when galaxy chat gets abusive. That's when the trolls come out. That's when people get butthurt for hitting their fortune that's going to cost them nothing to repair, and they cry and cry and cry. Deal with it. It's part of the game. War is good. Second point, if you are having the opportunity of starting a war, prepare. Have an end game. What do you want to achieve from this war? There's no point going to war just for the hell of it. You want an end game. Do you want an apology? Do you want an alliance to break up? Do you want a certain individual to leave? Know your end game. If you are planning on going to war, prepare. Think about your ships. Think about your bases. Think about where you are in territories. Think about where you are on the map. Think about, learn where your opponent is mining, where they do their dailies, which systems predominantly they're doing their swarms in or their Borg in. So look at those, so you know exactly where you're going to have to hit to ensure that they are going to have to change the style of their gameplay. And it's all about relentless, in some cases just boring them to death, and giving it up from there. Another tip, you're not going to get much mining done. Potentially. So stock up now. Don't expect to be doing mining for your dailies. Stock up on your ISO, on your G3, on your G4, on your Eclipse, on your Borg, everything you got. Spend a week. Stock up. Because for you, your name number one is hunting, not mining. Mining is a secondary thing. Why give them targets to do? You should be able to do your dailies, especially if you're triple locked, without having to touch a mine. So with war, having your base in an area where you can be unshielded, you can get to places quickly, is key. You have two choices really. You can, if you are lucky enough to be in an alliance that has a territory, you can sit in a territory. As you can see from us, I sit in our orgy mining system, which gives me the capability of not having to worry about my base getting hit means I can go online, offline, and the chances of being raided are minimal. If you are deciding, but there is a downside to this. This is where I am. This is where I need to get to. That can take anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. If you go to Swarm, which are your 41s here, this can take 25 minutes, half an hour to get there. So if you are not planning on using your disco, it can be finding someone, getting to them is a different thing. So you've got to think about that. If you want to play unshielded, you've got your territory here. If you really want to be hunting, my recommendation is sitting somewhere in ROM space, because it gives you that center point between Fed, gives you your center point between Klingon, and it allows you to get easy to Borg, easy to Eclipse. You can get to your swarms with ease. And yes, it's still going to take time to get up to deep space or dark space, but it gives you a thing, but you run the risk. So think about what your shields are. What shields do you use? Remember these? For us legacy players, the number of 1 hour shields we used to have, stupid. And we used to just blast through them. Who cares? Ah, there we go. Put a shield up. Put a shield up. Now, getting a 1 hour shield is bar near impossible. I have two, but I don't remember the last time I've used them. So think about your 4 hours, your 8 hours, your 12 hours, your 1 days, your 3 days, your 7 days. If you're going to be using 7 days, you're not anymore. You're just hibernating. Think about what shields you're going to be using, what you've got from there. On top of that, think also about the number of relocation tokens you've got. If you need to go and get them, make sure you are getting them daily in the Alliance store from here. They're not expensive. You can get them. They're fine. And these are your lifeline, because this will allow you to bounce. This will allow you to go and raid. This will allow you to go and just get next to someone. If you are potentially in a grinding system, you want to sit in there, you can sit next to someone's base and start picking off their ships as soon as they leave. It's and then you can just disappear, but you can burn through them quickly. Don't go into that mistake where you may move up to somewhere up here to go in high, so you can kind of hit some ships around here, because it's my example of me. I've done it once. I moved up here to do some grinding, and whoops, I got stuck because I ran out of relocation tokens. It's been a long time since that's happened. So base and thinking about where you want to do is key. So my next tip is, you go into war and you got to think about what you're doing, what you're attacking. And for instance, I've got here 2 reds. How am I going to get there? Am I going to... You got to think about what ships you want to use. You want to use cheap ships, expensive ships. How big's the load? How expensive is it going to be to repair? How big's the miner? And from here, you can really kind of... You got to think about... So this one here is low system. So they've gone and mining in a low system. And what this is, you got to think about doing is, okay, do you want to... Let's have a look at the size of these ships. So these are quick, easy ships. So look. Okay. So for me, I could use a disco, boom, straight in. If I'm going to be using my high warp one, it's going to take me 3 minutes. Are they going to get noticed? Are one of my teammates going to steal them? Let's do a quick jump in, and I could probably get these 2. And then what we'll do is we're going to go through Dum 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 dum. It's so slow sometimes. There we go. Oh, he's going. There we go. Bit of lag at the same time. And now I'll walk back. Should I didn't check if there's anything wrong in the system. So ships are very vital to what you are doing, and the way that I set up my my hunting crew. So I will have my grinding bay, which is the one where I will be flopping and flipping, but changing between ships, depending on what I need to do for my dailies. So if I'm going to go and hit reds, then I've got the jelly. If I'm going to go and do Borg, then I'll go and get the Vidar. If I'm doing Swarm, then we'll kind of go from there. So we've got that there, which is great. It does its job, and that's there, and that just kind of sits there and does its thing. Then we've kind of got our 4 here. So the way that I've got it's not crewed right at the moment, but I have my attack ship. At the moment, this is in Armada mode, but I have my attack ship, which can be there to help defend depending on what I'm doing. I then have my scout ship. This is great for TC. The Vidar has got a big hull. You can get loads of ISO, but the way that I crew this, especially when I'm going on the hunt, is I will go Klar and I'll go 50%, well, half synergy to get speed, but I'll also use, if you guys don't use, is Origin Stamens, because he's given a 45% warp boost, hull empty, hull full. It doesn't care. And this is vital, especially when you're hunting, to jump between the systems. And then, as I say, I have my, as I call it, my pain in the arse ship. So this here is, as I say, the Saladin is a nuclear warhead on a paperweight. It's got a big gun, but not a lot of shield. What this is great is doing is, if for instance you are seeing some of your enemies around, and they've got a pike crew in place, they've maybe got an Arga or something from there. The Saladin with Yuki, Harrison, and either Char, Marcus, or who's the other one? The other one. This is great for allowing you to actually make some damage. Yes, you might not win against a 3 million Augur, but you can really, really, really upset them. You can take anywhere between, say, 50, 75, 80% of their whole health in one go. You got to remember, war is not just about killing. It's about getting under the skin. It's about irritating them like no tomorrow. And if they're having to keep repairing, the worst one is, if you kill them, they get a quick trip home. If you don't kill them, you get a trip home, fine. They then may have to go and walk back another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they're up in dark space, even further. Maybe they've got to use a disco to get back, to repair, to come back. So sometimes it's not always about the killing. Sometimes it's just about making damage. Different way of thinking, isn't it? And then for me, lucky enough, I have 5 bays. So I always use my disco in bay 1. And for me, I'm lucky that I've managed to get the additional resource, and my disco can now get to 75 straight off the bat. And I'm using the most amount of efficiency as possible to reduce cost in that. But then what I do is I then also have my double Scotty crew, which now gives me up to 87. So I can really start pushing, but it's expensive. This now means that it's going to be, I say, 1,000 mushrooms to kind of bring a ship there. So it's very rare that I will go that. Maybe if I'm doing a mission or anything from there. So if you are hunting ships, you've got to have, say, your grinding ship. You want to have your war ship. You want to have your hunter ship. You want to have your damage ship, and you want to have your disco. That is probably the key to getting around the system quickly, to do the most effective amount of damage or kills or raids or just irritating them and getting under their skin. So we've spoken about going hunting. Right, next let's think about mining. As I said at the beginning, I don't like to mine. I hate mining like no tomorrow, but sometimes you have to go and mine. If there's an event, you've got to go and mine. If there's you are pushing your dailies because you're not triple faction locked and you're not getting enough points to be able to complete those dailies, then you're going to have to mine, and you've got to think about where to mine. So in that last bit, they were down in a very low system because traditionally we will always go as high as possible to find the biggest node to be able to go and mine. So you've got to really think intelligently about this. And this is what I said at the beginning about doing your pre-research, finding out where your competitors, where your enemy mines, where they grind, because what you want to do is you want to go in the opposite direction to them. When I start hunting, I didn't used to start at the bottom and work my way up. Now I start in the smallest systems because I've now noticed that we're seeing much more ships around these areas here. Let's see if we've got anything here. There's nothing there at the moment. We've got lots and lots of these little systems. They are a pain in the backside because it's only 3,600 on a node. But it will give you the thing. And so you've got to think about that when you're going out and mining. If you are lucky enough to have a territory, like so, then you've got to think about those as well. For us, we are full on ore, so we haven't got to worry really about mining in there. So are our enemies checking this system? Don't know. Because you would think, well, if you've got ore, why would you do that? But if you look at them, they are ore as well. So are we checking their systems? When are we checking all of these systems around here? So it's about, again, planning. This is that pre-work, that week before, to get yourself ready. So mining ships, this is an interesting one. Let's have a quick look. So when it comes to mining, in war, you've got to think about it and you've got to do your times. There's probably 2 ships that you want to use. Maybe 3, depending on the way it is. My recommendation is, if you were lucky enough to get a North Star, this thing is the balls when it comes to mining. It's not overly expensive to repair. It's got some nice size on it as well. Yes, the cargo load is less, but it's about active speed mining. Let's go and have a quick look to see what this will do out on. Let's move it up to find a gas node. Let's go to here. There we go. And we'll look at the speed here. So that there in itself is doing 12,480 an hour. It's going to take roughly an hour to fill up. You're going to be keeping an eye on them anyway. if you're doing things the way that way. And because the North Star is a hefty machine with a lot of health on there, actually you can really catch people by surprise where they just think, oh yeah, it's a horizon, it's fine, it looks like a horizon. They hit it and go, oh crap, actually I've lost a lot more health than I thought because I'm running a bad setup on a Vidar or on a Payflower or something from there, because they're just zipping around. So you can catch people by surprise. Also, it's quick as well. So that's one. Your other options obviously are you're back to your basics. Your envoys cost nothing at all. And people used to scrap them, but your Fortunate is an amazing little beast. It costs nothing to repair. It's instant. So if I come back to where we were doing, say I had a Fortunate on here and I had the North Star, which has got the wrong crew on. Even with the wrong crew, it's still doing 18,000 an hour. Fortunate's slow as anything, but it's a means to an end. So if we're coming along and they come in and they kill the ship, then it's like, oh, get that one away. That's the one that's going to cost. I don't really care about the Fortunate. You'd come back, it would die, and the first thing you'd do is quick repair, boom, out it goes again. Boom, out it goes again. Boom, out it goes again. And sooner or later, they're just going to be like, well, what's the point? I'm getting bored. And they'll leave. This is your key to getting people to just go away sometimes, because your Fortunate is a great little thing that costs nothing. It does the job. Take it out, let it die, come back. If you are in that situation where you are having to mine up in dark space, then that's a completely different scenario. You got to remember, you can't see if your enemies are here. So what do? Do you take a ship and spend 15 minutes, like 14, 15 minutes to get up there? Do you use a disco? Warp it up there, instant, have a look around, stick it on there. That is a scenario where you have to make that choice of when you feel is the best time to mine. I can't recommend, because that's going to be based around your warp range, it's going to be based around your disco summoning range, and it's going to be based around everything from there. Spoken about hunting, attacking. We've spoken about mining and thinking about the logistics about that, the miners to use, the speed, and everything from there. The other big two parts that we have within this game is grinding reds and Armadas. So let's go and have a look to see what we would do if we're grinding reds. So if we were, let's go down a tie, and I need to go and hit some reds anyway, so while we're here. So for me, I am now using the PC version of the game with Ripper's mod, and this gives me the opportunity to see the whole system, which means I'm able to see when enemies are coming, if I need to walk out, but for majority of people, they're not going to see that. We'll probably see about this mount. So you could be hitting here and you never know. If you have full, that's great. You've also got to remember, warping, you press that warp button, it takes 5 seconds to load to warp. If you're using your disco, you can go boom, straight down, instant, you disappear. Most people run to the corner, try and make that 5 seconds up. But if you have a window of maybe 1 or 2 seconds and you have enough mushrooms in your disco and you really want to save that ship, especially if it's like a jelly, which is like, say, 13, 14 hours repair and quite a bit of a res, then you can use the disco to jump out. Where's your disco going to be? Is it going to be back in your base? Don't know. Is it going to be a couple of systems across? Is it going to be hidden over here somewhere? It's up to you where you want to put that disco. But remember, you can get away quick if you really need to by using the Discovery's jump capabilities. So that's from getting away. But if we are grinding, let's bring a ship in. What have I got crew-wise? That's fine. Okay, so you've come in. You've come into the system and you're having a look around. You're going, well, okay, all right, I'm fine. I can go. So while I'm here, let's head up here. So when you are grinding, you have to think about where the entrance points are to the system. Lucky for Tigor is that it's only within, say, this region here. So you'll always be looking out to see who's going to be there. My recommendation is when you are grinding reds is to either stay in the middle, because then it gives you capabilities to go up and down and right, or stay within this kind of third here, because that gives you enough time to be able to warp out, to be able to judge the ship that's come hunting for you, and if it's going to be a threat, if you're going to go and win, it's going to allow you to think about those logistics with it. Yes, it's a pain in the backside getting hit when you're doing your reds, but it's a necessity. We all have to hit reds daily. I recommend hitting all those reds just because of the speed ups alone. I think I'm at 32,000 30-minute speed ups, so I don't even think about repairs and stuff. It's just straight through and then away from there. So that is my recommendation. Also have a think about systems. So this here, as I say, is a high traffic system, especially for Klings, Thai, Burmurf, what we got here? Gorath, Mempa, Ursiva, your normals, and then say kind of Enthra, Morska, maybe coming up to Carriera, Elixir. So you've got to think about what you're doing. Everyone hits explorers. Well, if you've got an explorer, why don't you go and hit interceptors for a change? Is it a system that is not going to get looked at? So think about the systems which are low traffic and go and park yourself in there. Who hunts reds here? Who hunts reds here? Oh, that's speak of the devil. Let's share that while we're doing it. Yeah, there you go. So they're using my thing. Who hunts reds here? Nobody. It's a dead system. Armadas are a daily occurrence within this game. We can't help it. We all dislike it. It takes too long. 15 minutes you got to sit there. It's just advertising. And then war, this can be the make or break between a short-term war or a long-term war. If you decide that you want to have an agreement to not hit Armadas, it's not a war. Everything's on the table. So being able to do Armadas effectively is key. So let's have a look at the system up here. We've got our epic up here. We've got a rare here. And we've got 2 uncommons in this system right now. And we get another one here and another one there. So there's 2 strategies to Armadas via in war. You can either do the back of the system, which will give you time to get your team together, to get your defenses together. And what you will see is when they come in to attack you, they will come in from here. And you will watch them, watch them, watch them, watch them, watch them all the way slow. It takes about a minute, unless they've got some speed ships, to get here, which gives you enough time to get there. Remember, the aim of the game is you've got to make sure that the person who started is alive when that Armada starts. If you've got enough ships, just throw them in. So this is the long-term game. This is the one where you play protection. This is the one where you will be looking, you will be waiting for them to come. If you've got the front of the system, so again, you do an epic, you're putting your tokens on the line there, or a rare, or even this uncommon here, it can be easily overwhelmed. So you've got to think about when you need to arrive. It's going to be there for 15 minutes. If someone notices, they could be there beforehand. What this gives you is, it gives them, the attackers, the element of surprise. They can just jump straight in, boom, done. Or you can have it running. They can be sitting there, fine, great. What you want to do is put the element of surprise in yourself. Boom, 15 seconds to go, you all arrive. In the circle, 15 seconds, boom, Armada done, warp out. Remember, they can't touch you when you are attacking that Armada, when it goes. Two choices. Late arrival, earlier arrival, defend, view. My recommendation for me, I will always try to go with the back of the system because it gives me that capability. And if you're all right, if you've got discos, that's fine. You can stick your discos down here. Get your discos in and then boom, there you go. They're still going to have to come in from this way to even get their discos. If they're going to have discos, they're still going to have to do that. Let's move over to Eclipse space and we'll look at some of the ones on here, because these, again, lots of different options again. So with these are more widely spread. So again, you've got, these are shorter time, so they're what, 7 minutes. So you can really start to go just straight in, boom, done. Or you can kind of get in here, start defending, garrison yourself in around here. You're going to know where they're going to come from. They're always going to come from this area, from here to here. This is where they're going to enter. So you can get the one furthest at the back and you will be able to see them. There's lots of different ways, but that's my recommendation, is to get down at the back. If you are attacking, think about where you're going to come in. If it's here, you want to come in right up here. If it's over here, you can probably get right up here. Or you want to bring some ships in down here. They will then draw the attackers, their defenders, over to here. You then bring some more players coming in here. Boom, take out that Stellar. War is good. So I think I've kind of done the basics really of war and what my recommendations are for. Make sure to comment in the section below anything else that you feel is vital part of the war strategy when you are either at war, thinking about war, after war. Put down some of your experiences. It's always a great experience. And remember, it's a game. It's pixels. You haven't got to troll. You haven't got to be abusive. You haven't got to be racist or homophobic or just a horrible individual. It's a game. Enjoy it. Enjoy the PvP element of this game. And always have fun. Have fun. Brilliant, guys. Look. Thanks very much for joining me on this guide to war. It's my basics. Can always go into more detail another day. Keep well, keep safe, and I will see you again on another episode of What the Farq.